Cairns, Leader of the Social Democrats.
And first of all, I just want to give a very warm welcome to Greystones Community National School up in the gallery. Tanaiste, for the second time in 2 months, Minister of State Niall Collins will make a clarifying statement in this House later today. In March, he made a statement about a planning application for his family home. Deputy Collins said he was entirely satisfied the planning application was in order, but questions remain outstanding. We still don't know why the incorrect address was recorded on that application, and Deputy Collins has repeatedly refused to answer that question. Questions have now arisen about Deputy Collins' decision when he was a Limerick County Councillor to agree the sale of land, which was later bought by his wife. Deputy Collins released a short statement on Monday evening, which failed to deal with the critical issue. His wife's solicitor had written to the council expressing her interest in buying the land a few short weeks before Deputy Collins attended a meeting of the Bruff Local Area Committee, which agreed to put it up for sale. Tanaiste, I'm not preempting what Deputy Collins is going to say later today, but I do wonder if standards of accountability and transparency in your government and your party are slipping. When you sacked Barry Cowen as Minister for Agriculture, you said it was because he was not prepared to make any further statement or answer questions on the issue in this House. You clearly thought it was appropriate for Deputy Cowen to take questions on this matter in this chamber. We know there's a precedent for questions and answer sessions among your own colleagues. The Taoiseach has previously agreed to take questions on a controversy that he was embroiled in. So did Minister Helen McEntee. Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform, Paschal O'Donoghue, has recently done the same. But now, when Deputy Collins is due to address the Dáil about a controversy for the second time in 2 months, the Taoiseach tells us that facilitating questions from the opposition would be akin to a kangaroo court. Taoiseach, you and other coalition leaders have given Deputy Collins your full support. You've all said no laws were broken and, in effect, that there's nothing to see here. So if the matter is so straightforward, I'm wondering why refuse the opposition to question Deputy Collins? It's the job of opposition to hold ministers and government to account. The opposition has a really important role to play in our democracy in doing so. So, Tanaiste, my questions are, why is there one rule for Niall Collins and another for other members of your government and your party? Do you agree with the Taoiseach that questions and answer sessions turn the Dáil into a kangaroo court?
Well, Deputy, thank you for raising the issue, and as you have said, my colleague Minister Niall Collins will make a statement to the Dáil later today, and he has already clarified the sequence of events around this issue. As he has pointed out, it was in September 2008 at a statutory meeting of the Limerick County Council that the sale of a property in Patrick's Well was approved and sold following a transparent and open sales process, which was open to all, was advertised in the local press, like any other land for sale. And Deputy Niall Collins was not a member of the Council in 2008. He was elected to this House in May of 2007. And I think it's important that the full story is told in all of this, because, of course, at the outset of this, the full story was not told. And you referenced, for example, the planning questions that were raised initially in the ditch. And when I read that in the ditch first, I got the distinct impression that the application went in a false name. I left reading that article with the distinct impression that there was a false advertisement put on a newspaper. Both false. The innuendo was left there very strongly. That's how the article was written, deliberately. And it has more to do with undermining character and reputation than anything else. I think that deserves scrutiny too from the House. How these campaigns are developing. How the orchestration of these campaigns. And I don't think this House should be a slave or should be facilitating political campaigns organised by platforms. I don't see the Ditch as an independent media platform at all. Paddy Cosgrave does. Paddy Cosgrave is a backer. Shea Bowes was a founding member of the Ditch. Shea Bowes is quoted on Russia Today. The Russian ambassador is full of praise for Shea Bowes for his characterization of the Russian war on Ukraine as a NATO EU organised war. And he was a founding member of On the Ditch. So I'm a fair person. I've been a member of this House for a long, long time. But the world of politics has changed. I understand what has changed. I know what's going on here. in terms of the broader political world, we should not be slaves to it. I would respect it, as I said, Deputy, neither should you. And legitimate questions can be asked. But if you look at that whole campaign and how it's organised over the last week, it deserves analysis. It deserves analysis. The trending, the build-up, the hashtags, the algorithms, the paid ads, the berating of media for daring not to discuss it or cover it. Extraordinary full frontal attacks on the national broadcaster, on other TVs and other media for not following the trending operation. So I have issues with that, Deputy, and that's why I genuinely say that the political world has changed now. And I know where, as far as I can see here, and I can quote various quotations from those who backed the ditch, this is a political campaign.
Deputy Cairns.
Taoiseach, you said that legitimate questions can be asked there, and that's all I'm trying to achieve here. And I'm not asking you about the ditch publication and your opinion on the ditch, or even your opinion on whether or not Niall Collins has broken any laws or not, or what your confidence in him is not what I'm asking you. It's about public confidence in our political system, our planning system, and our system of local government. That's the critical issue here. The public confidence has already been badly battered, I think, by previous controversies, and we should all in this House be doing everything we can to both restore that public confidence and to protect it. Government ministers being facilitated in delivering statements while the opposition are in some way kind of muzzled does not scream accountability and transparency, and on previous occasions your approach has been different. You sacked Deputy Cowen from the Cabinet for refusing to make a statement or answer any questions in this House. Other ministers have opted to resign from your government, Dara Cleary, Robert Troy and Damien English. This would suggest that standards of accountability are really high. Now we're told even responding to questions is too high a bar. So Tanaiste, this isn't about political scalps, this is about political accountability. Why is there a different rule for Niall Collins and for everybody else?
I've given you the political context, and you said that public confidence in our political system. To me, that's the purpose of the various campaigns that have happened in recent times. Orchestrated and organised. I'm answering the question, Deputy. I'm saying the political context has changed. This is a political organisation attacking government and wanting to undermine confidence in government. That's what's going on here. So we're entitled now to respond. As far as I'm concerned, I'm fully cognizant of what's going on here. And I see this now through a totally different prism. Sorry, I see this through a totally different prism. How all of this has been organised, set up, by people who are very clear in their campaign against me, against my party, and who set this up. I mean, you can see it, in all of the comments that had been made. I mean, Paddy Cosgrave's post earlier this year, and he's a strong supporter and has deep connections between the Web Summit, Paddy Cosgrave, and this organisation. And what did he say? Maybe it's time to body bag. That's a tweet. A few minions in media, civil service, charities, judiciary, private sector. We're not facilitating
Time
this.
is up.
That's the answer.
Tanaiste, please.
We're not going to facilitate this. You're slavishly following it. You're slavishly following this agenda here. I accept your bona fides as a deputy, don't get me wrong. But it's only when the thing came to a crescendo during the week that all the questions start coming in. You're part of it. You're being inadvertently dragged into it, in my view. But that's my view on it now. There's a lot of issues around this that need interrogation.
Can we return to a little order, please? So the format here is that people put questions to the Tanaiste, and the Tanaiste is given the courtesy of being allowed to answer the questions. Excuse me. Have you a problem, Deputy Gould? Have you a problem, sir?
You said that the Tanaiste would answer the question, and he answered none of Deputy Council's questions. You said he'd have the ability. He didn't answer them. That's all he said. You said that, and I said he didn't answer.
I said the procedure is that questions are asked and courtesy is shown and people are given an opportunity to respond. You mightn't like the response, but the response will be given.
Now, we'll hear Deputy Paul Murphy, please.